Hey guys, what's up? Dingocrikey here with a figure review. This time we're going to be looking at Transformers Combiner Wars Deluxe Class Firefly, or as he is commonly known in the fanbase by his Generation 1 name, Fireflight. This guy was originally released in January of 2015 in the Deluxe Wave 1 of the Combiner Wars line. He is of course a Superion Combiner, and he is marked as 5 of 5, or the 5th member of the Superion Combiner team. And his price at time of release was approximately $14.99, though whether by retail or online stores, I find him to be more expensive than that, usually being around $16 or $17, which is of course quite expensive for a deluxe class figure, especially for those of us who have been collecting back when Transformers were about $10 for a deluxe figure. So, is this guy worth the price? And hopefully you'll have your own answer to that by the end of this review. So let's get to looking at the figure, starting with the box. And despite the simple shape of the box, it does have some cool features such as the box art up here. Obviously we have some little things down there like the jet mode, displaying the card that the figure does come with. 2 images on the side of Superion. Then on the back we have the other figures advertised, of course drag strip instead of air raid. And we have some info saying that Firefly is the Aerialbot recon specialist. No bio, but don't really see that as necessary, as usually they just talk about how he's an Autobot who likes to destroy Decepticons, or they're Decepticon who likes to destroy Autobots. And there we have Firefly's box. So move that aside, and let's get to the actual figure. So there we have the figure, but before we get to looking at it, thought I should show you this. The Firefly card. I'm pretty sure it is just made out of cardboard. No bio on the back or anything, so it isn't anything fancy, but nevertheless it is kind of cool, and they have some really nice artwork there. So now we have the figure Firefly himself, along with his blaster, and a hand or a foot for Superion. This piece is just like the ones that come with the other Aerialbots, except the gun design is unique, and the detailing up here is. But that really doesn't have any importance in this mode, so we'll move it aside. And we'll also move aside the gun for a little bit later. So here we have Firefly's jet mode. So I'll give you guys a quick 360. As you can see, the color scheme is primarily red in this mode, which is quite different from his robot mode, but we'll find that with some of the other Combiner Wars figures as well. Other than red, you obviously have white, some bits from the robot mode, and some that are intentionally there with the wings, blue, and a little bit of gold and silver thrown in there. Overall, it is a pretty simplistic jet, a lot like what we usually get from Transformers. A lot of kibble at the bottom, and you can clearly see it's a robot, but on the top it does look pretty good. But I would say this guy is a little bit subpar for Transformer jet figures, and even when put in comparison with the other Aerialbots, mainly because his kibble does just seem to get in the way more than some other ones, especially these arms. It might not help that his jet is all red and then he has these white arms sticking out. It really looks apparent, especially at certain angles, and then all of the stuff at the bottom does stick out, especially these feet here. They really don't contribute anything. It can kind of be expected unless we're going to have a transformation like Revenge of the Fallen Starscream, but this guy does have a little bit much. Aside from that, it does a pretty good job at mirroring its G1 counterpart. It is noticeably more bulky. Unfortunately, I don't have the G1 version for comparison, but you could find images pretty easily. Still, it gives off that vibe really well. They don't use a ton of colors on it, but when you're trying to make it look like G1, sometimes less is more G1. As far as other features in this mode, he doesn't have too many. He does have this little bit of landing gear that you can flip down. I guess it's kind of cool. Adds a little bit more to the figure. And then you can also attach this gun to either wing, as you can see right here. And you can give him a weapon in jet mode. Though personally, I'm not a fan of the way it looks, so I like to just leave it unattached. And before we go any further, let's have some size comparisons. So here we have Firefly with all of his Aerialbot buddies, with the exception of Slingshot and Powerglide. As you can see, he looks really nice with all of the Aerialbots. Each one of them has their own personality due to the shape of the jet and their unique color schemes. Firefly definitely stands out the most of them because of his bright red color, but he still works with the rest because they all have little bits of red with the exception of Alpha Bravo, and of course they all have some white on them with the exception of Skydive. Here we have Firefly with two of his Decepticon counterparts, Dragstrip and Dead End. So let's take a look at this guy's transformation from jet to robot mode, and I'll bring him up closer for you guys to see. First thing you want to do is just loosen some things up, and the best way to start with that is by clicking these arms off of the pins here. Now that the legs are freed up, just move those arms out a little bit more, and take these legs. You just want to pull on this till you hear that popping sound. I know sometimes when you're instructed to pull on stuff, you can be worried that it might break, but that won't be the case with this guy. Then you kind of just want to pull this back and move the legs into position here. So now that you have the legs almost in position, you're going to want to make sure these pieces are pushed like this. Not like this one, but like this one. That's important in locking them in place. So then you just push this back down and it should hook up into these gray pins and into these red ones on the back of the leg, and you just push them together like that and you should hear that nice little clicking sound. Push the fin up along with these two ones on the side and pull the legs apart. Okay, now we have the legs done. The arms, pretty simplistic. Just pull them up. Same thing with both. Arms are done. Now push these wings back. Can't really do anything more with them, but it does help to hide them a little bit. Now that back piece, pull it out of position, push it down like that, and it will lock in even though it doesn't make a clicking noise. And like I just did, turn the head around, and there you have Firefly in robot mode. And I'll bring this guy up closer. This guy has some pretty nice detailing, even though not all of it is painted. It still is present. He definitely looks really good in the body. And also the head sculpt. I want to get a close-up of that. Yeah, these Combiner Wars have some really nice head sculpts to them. And I'll show you guys a quick 360. As you can see, his color scheme is pretty much the same as in jet mode. If you're looking at the front of the robot, it is going to appear he has a lot more white than red as his jet mode had, but as you can see, it still is all very evident there in the back. The only other additional colors he has is obviously some black on the knees and the blue in some different places, but other than that, it's silver, white, red, and that's pretty much it. As far as articulation goes, as a lot of the Combiner Wars figures, this guy has a really nice amount. Can bend at the knee, upper leg, can do a full 360. Then this here is on a ball joint. It gets a little prohibited by the back kibble, but overall he has really nice motion in there. He can rotate at the waist, but because of the way this is constructed, it will look kind of weird. You know, yeah, you really aren't going to be posing him like that. Then he has a ball joint on his upper arm, really nice range of motion there. Ratchet joint here, and this can also spin. Now, unfortunately, my one is a little bit loose. I don't know if that's a recurring problem with the figure or just mine. Head has a really nice range of motion, can look almost all the way up, about as far as you'd probably want him to, and can go all the way around. So I think that covers articulation. I mean, there's a few little things he's missing, like wrist swivel, and you can't really do anything with the feet, but he has the standard amount of articulation that we're used to seeing now, and maybe a little bit more, so really good in that area. As far as gimmicks and additional features, he really doesn't have any gimmicks in this mode. What he does have, though, of course, is this blaster here. Fits right into his hand like so, and is very, very cool look. I really like the blasters and weapons they've been giving the Combiner Wars figures. One of the reasons is that though they're unique, they're really interchangeable with a lot of figures because of their color and shape, so I think that's really cool. As far as accessories go, he also has this piece which becomes a hand or foot for Superion, but technically it can also become a weapon by flipping this thumb piece downward, just like that, and you can pop it into his hand. On the promotional images for the Takar version of the figure, it is shown like this. Personally, I don't prefer him using a weapon in this mode, and even though it can't really do anything, it has no actual storage, I'd just rather put it to the side because it looks kind of contrived. But he does look just fine with this blaster, and overall I think this guy looks really cool in robot mode. He isn't the most unique looking Transformer, but he does have a nice design. You can tell him apart from the other Aerialbots, and if you want him to look like his G1 counterpart, having him being simplistic is probably the best you're going to get. Some of the things I don't like though are just how he's kind of back heavy and he just has a ton of red and a lot of jet pieces back there. Once again, if you're looking for purely G1 accuracy, that probably shouldn't bother you, but it does look a bit obvious to me, and it's something we kind of have to deal with a lot of jet Transformers. Other than that, there aren't a ton of problems with this guy in his robot mode. So with that said, let's bring out some other figures for a size comparison. So here we have a size comparison of all of the Aerialbots in robot mode, with the exception of Slingshot and Powerglide. And of course, outside of Silverbolt being the Voyager class figure, there's no big size discrepancies to speak of, which helps them look pretty uniform, along with the color schemes and the overall body designs. So with that said, we can pull the Aerialbots aside and compare Firefly with two of the Stunticons. Here we have him with Dead End and Drag Strip. And I thought I'd bring out two Generations Thrilling 30 figures just so you can see the size differences in the line. Okay, now to transform Firefly back into his jet mode, then into both of his combiner forms. First, from jet to robot, you're going to want to remove his blaster, and then it's a pretty simple process. Push his legs together, pull down these fins back here, and then you want to pull these legs apart. Pull them up like this, open them wide, pull them down like this, and then you see these pegs here. Move the arm up. You just want to fit them in, and sometimes that can be a little bit of a problem, but there you go. Just push them down like that. Hear a nice clicking sound, and make sure everything's locked into place. There's no gap there. From the front, all you want to do with these arms is slide them on down like that. And looking from this way, you can see these pegs here. Just push the arms into those pegs, and they'll fit nicely. Wings downward. Look at the head. Turn it around. Then with the front of the jet, just pull it up and over the head. You have Firefly back in jet mode. From here it is pretty simple to get him into leg mode. So you want to start by pushing these wings inward. Also, you can do this, move these ones up. You're definitely going to want to move that one. And all you do here, push that back. And with the head, to get this out, you're going to need to pull those upward. And then just do that. Well, you might want his head you might not want it visible. Even though this is going to be the back of the leg, wouldn't really make a whole lot of sense. And almost there. Just take this little piece And make sure it's like that. And connect it down in this peg. And there you have Firefly in leg mode. Next, to get him into my preferred combined form, and that is arm mode. First, you're going to want to remove that piece, push these back, and you're going to want to pull the legs out again. Same old thing as you did in the robot mode. You probably want to get these arms out first though, else you're going to cause yourself some problems down the road. As goes, you want to make sure you get these pieces down like this so they peg in there nicely. Remember, it can be an easy one to forget. You're going to want to pull the arms up, push these wings back, and I've seen people play some different ways, but what I like to do with these arms is just tuck them away like that, because they can't really lock in any position. This just gets them out of the way. As far as this goes, you might want to pull it like this and turn the head around so it isn't looking up or something if that bothers you. And all you do then is adjust the fins however you want. Almost there. You take this piece, and this can be a little bit of a pain in the neck. You just kind of got to fidget with it till it pops out. And fingers came out enough. Just play with it till you can get those fingers out. And flip this piece down, just like that. And there you have Firefly as the left arm of Superion. And let's see how that looks in combined form. So here we have a delimbed Superion, and we're going to give Firefly as his left arm. Just slide it in like that. Fits in here pretty nicely. Hasbro has finally done this combined system really well. We did have Superion in the past in lines such as Transformers Energon, but the way the limbs plugged in didn't really allow for a lot of posability, and you'd constantly have the limbs falling out. You're not going to really have that with the way Firefly connects, and that's really nice. One more thing you can do if you want to is take Firefly's blaster and just put it in this little peg here. And I think that is a really nice feature that they allowed all these guns to be held by Superion. Really thoughtful of Hasbro. That sums up all of Firefly's features. So, final thoughts. Overall, Firefly is a really good figure. His robot mode and jet mode are a bit simplistic, and both of the modes do suffer a little bit from the others. While this figure may not have anything stunning, it doesn't really have any huge flaws either. As all of the Combiner Wars figures, it is a very simplistic one though. At the same time, it's probably going to be the best Firefly remake we're going to get, and I think it does a really nice job at creating that G1 character. And for its combined feature, it works really nice. So if you're a completist or you plan on collecting most of the Combiner Wars line, I would say this guy's definitely a must, as Superion is. And if you only plan on collecting some of the figures from the line, I would still consider getting this guy. But those are just my thoughts on it. You guys can leave yours in the comment section below, and also tell me what you thought of this review. Too long, too short, what should have been included, what I might have spent too much time on, leave it in the comment section below, along with suggestions for future Transformers figure reviews, and keep up with the channel for more figure reviews along with regular Transformers news and commentary. That's all I have to say for this one. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned and have a good one, guys. See you soon.